I'm Jan, and Tracey's right behind the camera, and we are on Atlas Ocean Voyages World Navigator for the second time. We were actually on this in February for Antarctica, and today we're actually on a cruise that started in Montevideo, Uruguay. Tomorrow we go into the Falkland Islands, and we're going to make our way to Ushuaia. Now, this is actually a repositioning cruise, so there's only 89 passengers, which means when you look at this, actually has a ship that has a double capacity of 198, it's a half full. And one of the advantages about that for us is we have a lot of open rooms that we get to be able to tour for you today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tour all through all but one of the categories to show you all the different types of rooms you can be. Now, the only one we're not going to be able to show you is, I think they call it the Adventure Ocean View. That's down on deck 4. But because we have the expedition team on board, that's where they stay. So let's start with this room, which is the Veranda Stateroom. All right, so this is actually a pretty comfortable sized room. This room size total is about 270 square feet. It feels kind of fresh. I like the decorations and the upholstery and the colors. Now, there is, as you go towards the veranda, you have a sitting area, which has 2 very comfortable chairs. It has a pretty decent sized table that you can use for room service. And then across from that, you have the credenza. Now, the credenza has a small little seat, and here's where you have coffee for in the morning, a coffee maker, as well as a kettle if you want to have tea, and then underneath what you have is a fully stocked mini fridge.
Immediately next to the living area, you have the bedroom, and the bedroom is comprised of a queen-size bed. I found that the mattress was a little bit too firm, but you can always get a mattress pad, and it does have nice crisp sheets. I did like the sheets and the linens to it. On each side of the bed, you have 2 end tables, and on each end table, there is power systems. So you can turn on and off the lights throughout the room from your bedroom. You also have 220 plugs, and you have 1 USB on one side of the bed. And across from the bed, you have the television, which is very visible right from the bed. You can also see the TV from the sitting area.
Tracey talked about you have on either side of the bed, you have a 220 on each side, and then you have 1 USB on one side of the bed. Over by the credenza, you do have you have to kind of look for it. It kind of flips out on the top, and there you have a 110, and you have a 220 outlet, and you do have 2 USBs. Now, as you come towards the closets, there is this outlet where you have 2 220s and you have a 110. And what's nice about that, it's closer to the bench that is underneath the TV, so you actually can charge things up and be fine. Let's talk about the storage though. You have this curved hanging closet, and for like Arctic expeditions, this is where we would put kind of our Arctic stuff. And then you have a pretty good size closet. We have hanging on either side, but you do have a set of drawers, which is very nice. And you're going to find that this is one of the very few rooms of all we're going to talk about that has that much storage. The other thing is, as you go towards the entry door, you actually have a very small, very shallow door or closet, which is where you have your life preservers, which is something else that you're going to see that in many of the other even more expensive rooms, actually they stuff them up in front of the closet as opposed to having them all the way out of the way.
Moving into the bathroom area, I'm always so surprised how spacious an expedition ship can be compared to other ships that I've been on that are bigger, that have smaller bathrooms. One thing we will point out is the shower in each of the bathrooms, no matter if it's in the lowest category up to the highest, it is the same size. It has a rain shower, it has a handle shower, and it does have jet showers off to the side. L'Occitane products are included as your toiletries in here. Behind me, you have a really nice, well-lit area to get your makeup on. There is a plug off to one side of the toilet, and there's plenty of space in here to get yourself ready. Even 2 people could get ready in here if you needed to at the same time.
All right, so as the name implies, the Veranda Stateroom, well, you have a veranda. It's a decent sized veranda, not as big as some of the others we're going to show you. What I think is interesting, though, is you do have 2 chairs. You have a really good size table where you also can have room service. But what's interesting is all the other verandas, even though some of them are much, much larger, have the exact same furniture. So you're actually not giving up a lot by coming down into this veranda stateroom, also known as a B1, B2. All right, so we're going to go up one category to the The Horizon Veranda. This is also known as sometimes as the A1, A2, or the Infinite Veranda. Now, we just showed you the Veranda Stateroom, the B1, B2. This room is pretty much exactly the same, except for, as you'll see, it does not have a veranda. Instead, what you have, you can push a button over here by the bed. This actually lowers. Now, because of that, you have a full 270 feet. So this area is much deeper. It feels a little bit wider. And because of that, the living area here, you actually have a full love seat, okay, as well as the other furniture here. It has a much more spacious feeling to it.
Again, you are now moving into the bedroom area. It's the exact same bedroom, the exact same layout where you had the television right in front of the bed, and all of your power controls are right here on the nightstand. The one thing I would note though is if I was sitting in the sitting area, I think it would be hard to watch television if you were sitting in the sitting area if you have time to watch TV on a cruise.
Now, when you're looking at outlets and storage, it is all the same except for one issue. You have the same over by the credenza. You have the same 220 and USB on either side of the bed. But what you do have is the storage, although it looks very similar with the curved closet. You have the double closet. The double closet, at least in this room, does not have your drawers. So if you have any folded clothes, you don't have as much room to be able to put those.
And like the B1 Veranda, you have the exact same setup in your bathroom. You have a good sized shower, you have a nice well lit area to put on your makeup and your cosmetics, and you have a nice toilet area. Two people can very comfortably fit in here. And I do like that the doors, I forgot to mention this before, is the doors are glass here, so it makes it seem bigger than it is.
All right, so the two rooms we were in before, think of as kind of your starter rooms or your basic rooms, beyond that of the adventure rooms, which we're not showing you. Don't count those. Those are very comfortable. The next two rooms we're going to show you are the deluxe rooms. This is the Deluxe Veranda. Now, as you come in, what you find is this is a much larger room. It has a total of 300 square feet. And the first thing you notice is you have a standalone living area. In this area, you do have a couch. The couch is a pull-out. This is a room that will sleep up to 3. So if I guess you have a child, it'd be fine. I don't know if it'd be better for anyone other than a child. Now, in this area, what I found though is you do have a side table to the couch, but you don't actually have a table that you could use well for room service inside the room. You have a credenza that's almost exactly what we've seen in the last two rooms. And then over to my right, you have the same wardrobe. You have a curved wardrobe. You have a double wardrobe. But just like on the Horizon room, you do not have the drawers here. The other thing is you do not have that hidden little area that you have in the other two rooms to be able to put your life preservers. So you actually are kind of using some of the space up above for the shelves, or I'll be honest, when we have that on other ships, we just throw the life preservers that are on bed and make more room. But it's unfortunate that you have it in your two more basic rooms, but you don't have that here. The other thing you'll notice as you're coming in here is on the other two rooms, once you come in, you have this view either out the veranda or out the infinite veranda of the ocean going by. Here you have these two little portholes, and unfortunately these are obstructed windows. So that's kind of, you don't have that open feel that you actually have in the two other rooms.
Moving into the bedroom area, you do have your own standalone bedroom. I'll tell you, with the door closed, it would almost feel a little bit too very small for me. But it does have a nice area that you can go and look out to the balcony, and you do have the same setup on your nightstands. So you're still going to have the master controls that you can operate the lights and everything from your room, and you also have the 110, 220 and the USBs. The TV is a little bit off center in the bedroom, so that also means if you did have a third person in the room, they can't actually watch television. So I'm not sure that's a big deal, but it is something to point out.
Because this is the deluxe veranda, you do have a veranda. Yeah, we talked about the portholes, but out of the bedroom here, you do have a veranda. The veranda is about the same size as what you had in our room, or the B1, B2 basic veranda, but it has the exact same furniture as you have in the other rooms here on the Atlas World Navigator.
Upon walking into the bathroom, it does feel a little bit different walking into it. It might just be the way that the room is oriented, but you do have the same size shower, and this time you have the toilet right in front of the door versus behind the door on other rooms. And then you have the same setup with your toiletries and shelf space.
All right, so if you remember, the two basic rooms we showed you was a Veranda Stateroom, and then you have a Horizon Stateroom. You have at this next level the same thing, except for the room that we were just in is the Deluxe Veranda. Well, this is the Deluxe Horizon. Now, as you come in, well, the first thing I noticed is even though both the Deluxe Veranda and this room have both the 300 square feet, this one seems to have a little more space, at least it feels like it. Now, you come in, it's the same type of setup. You come in, you don't have large windows at all. You have these two portholes, and in this case, they are obstructed. You really don't have a view out to the ocean. You do have a sofa, but it is not a sleeper bed, so this room only sleeps two. The other thing you're going to find here is you have the same type of closets you have in the other room where you have the curved wardrobe and the regular wardrobe. You have an entrance into the bedroom, which is much more spacious.
And as we move into the bedroom area, you find that you have a similar setup, but it does feel bigger. Why does it feel bigger? Well, because you do have an infinite veranda here. And the one thing I would point out is it's great to have the infinite veranda here because you can open it up from your bed, but there's really no sitting place in the bedroom besides sitting on the edge of your bed to take in the beautiful views of the Antarctic.
But what I think really is good about this and the consideration, you have two more closets. You have one closet, which is a hanging wardrobe, and then you have a smaller one, which is all drawer space, which is kind of a big change from the last couple rooms we've been in.
And again, just like in your entry-level balconies in the B1 and the B2s, you have the same setup with the bathroom, just the orientation of the bathroom is different.
All right, so we now have made it to the suite level. This is the Journey Suite. It has 385 square feet. Now, with the two suites, we're going to show you this one and the next one, there's some of the amenities that you get with these that you do not get with any of the other rooms we had before. First of all, you get a butler, plus you get an expanded room service menu. If you saw our reviews on the Traveler or on the Voyager when we went to Antarctica, we told you that the room service menu that you usually have, although the food's okay, is really kind of limited. You have more options to choose from here in the suites. Now, just as we saw in the last two rooms we're in, the Deluxe rooms, the Deluxe Veranda and the Deluxe Horizon, you come in, you have, as you would expect in a suite, your own little living area. There are a couple of differences. First of all, just like you have with the Deluxe Veranda, this room will sleep up to three because this couch is a pull-out bed. You have another chair and you have a table that you can have room service or champagne. Now, across from the bed, what you have is you have a TV, and we'll talk about why that's kind of important in a moment. You have a credenza. It's a little longer, but it's set up just like any of the others. And then you do have some shelves that you can be able to put different things out here, two sets of shelves on either side.
Moving into the bedroom, it's almost the same setup as we've seen in other rooms where you have the nice bed with the TV right in front of it, and it does feel a little bit bigger.
Now, what the suite also has, it has a walk-in closet. You come in, you do have two drawers, you do have a wardrobe, and of course you have your safe, which you have in every one of the rooms. But what also is kind of interesting is, once again, you do not have kind of the secret compartment to put your life preservers, so you'll have to kind of throw these under your bed or basically lose the shelf space you have in here.
Moving into the bedroom area, you have a similar setup that you see in most of the other rooms. You have the bed, which is right next to the balcony, and one of the nice things this does have that we haven't seen in any other suites up to this point is a second television.
All right, so while the veranda, what we saw on both the Veranda room and the Deluxe Veranda are all kind of about the same, you have a much larger veranda here, but which is kind of puzzling, you have the exact same amount of furniture. You have the same types of chairs, two chairs and one table. You don't have any lounger, you don't have any additional furniture out here for all this real estate.
And again, even though you're in a suite, you have the exact same bathroom that you have, even as low as a B1 stateroom. Maybe a little bit higher end extra L'Occitane products is the only thing I can tell.
All right, so we are now in the largest cabin they have here on the Atlas World Navigator. This is the Navigator Suite at 485 square feet. As you come in, it feels a lot more spacious. As you come back into the living area, once again, as a suite, you would think as it should be, it's a separate living area from the bathroom and the bedroom. You do have a much larger sofa, so the love seat, it is a pull-out sleeper. This room does sleep three. You do have one chair, and then you have a pretty decent, nice sized table. Across from that, you have the credenza, which actually the only difference between this credenza and of any of the others on the ship is it is a little longer, and then you do have storage space on the right side. The left side, once again, is your fully stocked minibar. Now, just like the previous suite, with the suite, you do get a butler and you get an extended room service menu.
Just as you had in your other suite, you have a very nice size separate bedroom with its own TV and access out to the balcony.
All right, so unlike the Journey Suite, which had the walk-in closet, this does not have that, but you do have these two double wardrobes. They don't have the drawers, what you found in the Veranda Suite, but what you do have is you do have two drawers at the bottom that open and slide. They give you a lot of room to be able to put your stuff. And of course, you have plenty of space for hanging clothes.
Since this is the largest suite on the ship, you do find some different modifications within the bathroom area. First of all, you have a separate toilet area. We've been told that that's a little bit tight getting in and out of, but you move into the bathroom. That gives you more space for the bathroom, which is the one place on the ship that has a bathtub in the room. It does have a double vanity. It has higher end L'Occitane products, but I noticed that the shower is the exact same size as the shower in our B1 Veranda.
All right, so just like we have in the Journey Suite, you have a very large veranda that goes along both the living area as well as the bedroom. But just like the Journey Suite, you have exactly the very same furniture, two seats, one large table that you have in every other veranda room, going all the way down to the cheapest veranda, which is your B1, B2. All right, so those are the major rooms that you're going to have on the Atlas World Navigator. And you have to kind of look at each one of these. Each one of the rooms have its own advantages and disadvantages. For us, we actually kind of think that the veranda, the basic veranda, would be great for a warmer water cruise. And then maybe if we had a little bit of coin around, if we were doing a Arctic expedition, maybe upgrade to the Horizon room. But I'll tell you what, this is the third time that we have sailed on the Atlas, and we love this line. And I'll tell you that Veranda Stateroom has been absolutely great for us. All right, so go on and watch this video to be able to see more ship tours. And as always, keep on traveling.